How is everybody doing? I hope this video coming through clear. Hope everybody's doing well. I'd like to talk about communication. As a lot of you have known, I dropped a video today about communication. And I dropped that video because as a person whose job is literally to communicate between the staff and upper management, it behooves me to have adequate and proper communication skills. What I realized over my almost 40 years of living is that no one really teaches you how to properly communicate. Growing up, if you had a dysfunctional household, you probably had an authoritarian parent who is telling you to, what you should do, how you should do it. And that is a one-directional communication style that doesn't work. When a parent tell a child, especially in the South, or old school parent, when they demand something of a child, they tell them, they instruct, and then, there's no feedback. As you grow up, communication becomes extremely essential because you're no longer talking to children, you're talking to adults. And not being able to communicate properly can lead to a whole bunch of issues. And I see that a lot. I see couples constantly get into arguments because both of them are talking at each other instead of talking to each other. To me, when I communicate, I try to listen. I try to listen to understand, not to rebut or to refute what you're saying. I like to listen to the entire conversation without cutting someone off, because that allows me to get the gist of what they're saying. If you cut someone off or you feel attacked immediately and automatically start to counter what they're saying, you're not getting to the root of the problem, and you're actually creating more issues for you in the long run, whether it's with your boss, with your significant other, or even with your adult children. So one of the techniques that can help you get better at communicating is simply to pause and listen. So take your time. Just when they speak, when they get done with their whole communication, you just stop, you take a deep breath, you think about what they're saying, ask yourself, is there validity to what they're saying? If it's true, then you have to take accountability. That's the second part of communication. If what they're saying is true, take accountability. And that's one thing that people have a big issue with, is taking accountability, because we all like to think that we have perfect character. And let me tell you, that is not the case. Many of us have a bunch of character flaws that we are blind to. And it makes sense to have people around us who care enough about us to let us know when we're wrong about something, or when we're kind of drifting towards arrogance or pride, or just being an all-around bad person. And if you do not want to be told that you are, fucking up, then you don't deserve friends. You don't need friends. It doesn't work that way. So I always tell my friends, do not be yes men and women. Do not tell me what I want to hear. I don't need that. I don't need someone to tell me what I want to hear. If I need to big myself up, I can do that myself. I don't need anyone to do that for me. But if I'm making a mistake, I expect you to let me know, because I'm generally trying to be a better person. And how can I be a better person if I believe everything I do is correct, but I'll keep getting these less than optimal results? And that's the biggest issue. A lot of us get into this thing where we think we're always right, but then we look around and we constantly get into arguments. We constantly losing jobs, and it's all because our communication style is the wrong one. In the Black community, we have this thing called code switching. And it's when you go to a job, you change up how you normally speak. If you come from a place where you kind of speak a little bit more street, if you will, and when you go to a place of business, you want to speak more eloquent. You want to speak more proper, because most of the people you're interacting with may not understand common lingo or common like speech from your neck of the woods. So we code switch. The same thing happens when you talk to different people. As many of you know, some people simply don't. You can't talk to them very directly. They get offended, they get upset, and then you end up with this big problem. So instead, you learn how to tactfully get your point across. And one thing that I do is I evaluate the person and figure out how can I talk to them. Do I have to do the sandwich method, which is literally a compliment, the meat of what you want to say, and then a compliment at the end, or can I just do the tortilla method where it's this is what I'm saying, and then at the very end it's a compliment, or do I just give them a straight cupcake, just all compliments until I get them used to my communication style, and then later on hit them with what I want them to do. That's why communication is important. Most people, they kind of fall within that hamburger style. You tell them, hey, how are you doing today? Is everything doing great? Thank you for your project. I love the work you did with it. I have some suggestions. Say what you want to say, and then end it with, even though I gave you those suggestions, thank you very much for what you've been doing. I appreciate it. Keep it moving. If you do it that way, I know some of you might be like, oh, that's so weak. But that will help you out a lot, even in your relationship. If you just say, you tell your girl or your guy, oh my God, man, you never help out around the house, you never do this and that. It's it's straight direct, straight punching, and now that person's going to be defensive. They're going to be like, why? Like, first of all, you don't do anything either. I asked you to do this, you can do that, and now you have an argument. But if you come to them and say, hey, so and so, it's been a lot around the house lately. Do you mind helping me? Like, I know you're busy and you're probably tired, but if you don't mind, can you please help me with the laundry? Can you help me with the groceries, put them away, or can you help me clean the kitchen? I really appreciate it. They're more likely to help. Most of the times, you can avoid so many issues by simply doing what we call like the what I say and what you hear method. If I say something to you, I will kind of clarify, do you understand what I'm saying? That way, if you can't understand, you can simply let me know. Hey, quick question, like, oh, did you mean this? Did you mean that? That's kind of how. That way, that's kind of how I want. You can simply let me know. Hey, that's my whole thing. I want to know. Do you understand what I'm saying? Clarity is the biggest thing. Clarity helps you avoid assumptions. When someone starts to assume something, you find yourself getting into a lot of bad issues. I don't like to assume anything because my mom had this whole thing, and I'm pretty sure you guys have heard it. They said when you assume, and make an ass out of you and me. And so I make sure that I'm never assuming. I'm always asking, hey, did you mean this? Because I'm a fiery spirit, and so if I feel like you are insulting me, I'm gonna first make sure if what I'm hearing is actually true. I'll ask you, hey, did you mean to say this? And if you say no, I didn't mean it like that, it makes me less likely to kind of act the fool. But if you actually meant to insult me, now we got a problem. I have to ask myself, is it really true that you really am I really that kind of that way? And if I evaluate myself, because I always believe in self-inflection, if I evaluate myself and what you're saying is not true, you're just trying to stir the pot, then now we're gonna have a problem. So, hey Liz, but communication can save you so much time, so much effort, so much energy if you just learn how to properly communicate. Even when you're dating, right? When you date, I tell people all the time, when you date, make sure you date with a purpose. Make sure you communicate what you actually want. I don't believe in that go with the flow and that's just how it is, or I don't want to scare them away. If a person is scared away by your communication style right off the gate, then they don't supposed to be with you in the first place. That's what people don't understand. If they're scared of you just knowing what you want, then it's time for you to go ahead and end that date in the first place. Don't even waste your time. Just send them on their merry way, and then look for somebody who understands and who wants a woman or a man who know what they want. A lot of us waste our time chasing after people because of the aesthetic, and we don't want to communicate what we actually want, because that aesthetic that we want is there, but they don't have any of the characteristics that we want, but because they look good or they have money, we'll bypass that, and then we go through the motion, the honeymoon stage wears off, and now we're back single again, or we're miserable in a relationship, all because we simply don't want to communicate what we want. I like to be taught to this way. I like to be loved this way. Can you tell me what your love language is? Can you tell me how you like to be communicated with? All that stuff is really important. It's super important. But instead of doing that, we tend to simply just go with the flow because some of us are too afraid to be alone to actually communicate how we actually feel. So stop it. Communicate, especially as you get older. No one's just going to give you anything in life. That's one thing everyone needs to know. No one's just going to give you something in life. You have to ask for it. It's important to ask for it. Thank you, Liz. I'm going to pin your comment. No one's going to ask you simply just, oh, you're doing a great job. Here's a raise. Oh, you seem like a good person. Let me just date you and give you my whole heart, my whole life. No, that's not how that works. Closed mouths don't get fed. So I open my mouth all the time. Like I told, many people, hey, Queen, like I told many people, I'm not doing this for my own benefit. I don't have to, thank God. But I'm doing this because I generally want to educate. Oh, hey, Lily. I generally want to educate the world on how to get better, how to have more long-lasting relationships. I want all y'all to be happy. We have this belief in our head, like I'm starting to think in my mind, like, oh, people don't want relationships, but it's not that. It's just people don't know how to communicate what they want out of a relationship. That's the big issue. They don't know how to communicate what they want out of a relationship. Everyone wants one, but they don't know what they don't know what to how to say it or how to say this doesn't suit me or when to walk away from one. My ship failed on that topic. I'm telling look, the number one reason why relationships end is not because people fell out of love with each other. It's honestly because they start communicating when things start to change, when something innately or inside of them started to change. Because we do change from 20 to 25, 25 to 30, 30, 35, 35 to 40, and so forth and so on. I like to say every 5 years, you kind of change. You get strong mentally. Typically on average, you get stronger mentally. Your body starts to change as you get up in age. And so certain things that you used to want and wanted to do, it don't happen anymore. And that person that you're with, you have to let them know, like, hey, I'm not feeling whatever it is. I don't like going out no more. I don't like doing this and that. But instead, we all stay quiet. Like we get complacent and we forget that a relationship is a continual thing. You have to work at it every single day of your life. It's something that's continuous. You can't put it on the back burner because it will change. And then when it does change, people oftentimes find themselves in serious, like pretty much deep water. Once it changes, they don't freaking, tell their partner how they feel. I'm a very vocal person. I'm a very vocal person. I tell people, like, even, we get a little spicy, even in the bedroom, let somebody know if you ain't liking something. Why be in a loveless, sexless, passionless relationship? I don't want that. It's just like me going to the chip aisle and I have all the flavors in the world, and only thing I choose is plain Lay's potato chips because it's a potato chip, right? No, like hell no, that's not my favorite. I'm gonna let you know, hey, this ain't working out for me. I need you to spice this all the way up. Let people know. If the person loves and cares about you, they will make those concessions because that's what relationships is. It's concessions on both sides. It's like, hey, this is what I want. This is what I want. Okay, I can concede this if you give me this. And you stack it. All that comes down to communication. Always. Communication. One of the best way to communicate, pause and reflect. I'm talking to you, you're talking to me. It's before I respond, I actually take a time. I pause. I like, you know what? Let me think about what she or he just said, and then I respond. Why? Because we have this thing, we have reaction and we have responding. Reaction is quick. Someone hits you, you hit them back. That's reaction. It's quick. It's like 0.02 seconds. But when you pause and you give your prefrontal cortex time to process, which takes about 5 or 6 seconds, now you're able to kind of make a more level-headed response. So that's why it behooves you to just pause, take a time, let it come to you, and then talk about it. Again, like I said earlier, Another method is to what I said and what you heard technique, and that's when you ask for clarity. Yeah, dear Lisa, it's that what I said and what you heard. So if I talk to you and I say, hey, Liz, you know, I like to talk about your lack of whatever. Then Liz, I will ask Liz to I'll make sure I clarify. Hey, Liz, do you understand what I'm saying? Just to make sure she got what I'm saying, because as we all know, Liz sometimes she be in the clouds. Her lives be so funny because sometimes she be just all over the place. So you have to make sure that she heard the right thing. Otherwise, she might respond to what she think I said, and now we're arguing about something that didn't even happen. Let's see. Sometimes my response takes one. Exactly, that's what I'm saying. And the thing about it, and the thing about it is, many arguments have been, you know, started based on what people thought someone said, what they assumed someone said, and it became this big old gigantic mess. So always ask someone, did you mean? If I'm understanding this correct, you meant to say, or you're saying, and then let people give them time to clarify. That is the best thing you can do to make sure your communication is effective. Then on the other side of that, other side of communication is accountability. And that'll be my episode 2. So if you did not check out episode 1 that I dropped today, I am a little sick, so I probably sound stuffy, but I dropped season 3, episode 1 of Quick Talks, and we're talking about communication and barriers to communication. And one of the big barriers of communication is trauma. Why? Because we oftentimes, when we go through trauma, people filter all their experiences through the trauma. If you grew up in a place where somebody just yelled at you and they were very authoritarian to you, then you seem to clam up. So now, instead of having a adult conversation, now when I'm displeased and I start telling you how I feel, you see it as me, like, demanding to you and directing you, and you clam up. And I'm asking you, do you understand what I'm saying? You're just saying yes, go along to get along, and it's just boiling up under the surface. And then you explode and you're like, you always berating me, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, what's going on? I thought I told you can tell me how you feel. That's why you have to be very, like, can I see your son? My son is in the house right now. I'm outside. I was lifting weights. And then if you want to see my son, if you go to my community page, I have a lot of pictures of all my sons actually, on my community page. But yeah, like, so you have to realize that some people have certain type of traumas. Some people come from different cultures too. Certain cultures are not confrontational in how they speak to people. Like a lot of Asian cultures don't like direct confrontation. And so you can't just expect them to tell you what they think. Sometimes it helps to ask, hey, are you okay with this proposal? Are you okay with this and that? And that'll help out a lot. But then on the other side of communication is also what? Accountability. So that means if someone tells you something, instead of dismissing it like right out the gate, how about you say, is there any truth to what they're saying? That's something that I did that took a long time for me to work with. I used to always be like, oh, I know I do a lot of self-reflection. I know I'm right. No, we're not calling you out. Yes, I'll come to your live at 10 p.m. I'm not staying on too long. But yeah, for absolutely, I'm not calling you out, Liz, but I'm just saying, like, there's something I had to learn. I had to learn the accountability of things, because how I think of what I'm saying, how I think I'm treating you might not be the truth. Like they say, it's 3 sides to every story, right? My truth, your truth, and the truth. And sometimes in order for me to find the truth, I have to hear your side, my side, and see what parts overlap. And then I'm able to say, okay, maybe I did go a little far. Maybe I was a little aggressive. Maybe maybe people interpreted my shit this way. Queen. But yeah, that will help you with your communication. So if you're having a problem in your life, it probably starts at communication and accountability, and hold people accountable too. Not only do you hold yourself accountable, always, like literally always. And that's one thing that as a man who date women, I used to always, and Liz, I will call you out with this. I will always ask Liz, hey, I'm going out with my friends. Do you want me to stay in or do you want me to do this and that? And she'll be like, no, I'm fine. You can just go. And then I'll go. And then I get a text message as soon as I get in the car. Oh, you don't go out with your friends, blah, 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 blah. And you're like, what the heck? And so it's something that happens a lot. And all because women typically are not necessarily direct all the time. And so men need to learn how to read body language because that's the majority of communication. Like 58% of all communication is actually body language. Um, and so it's important for men to be aware of the body language, but it's also important for women to understand that we are not mind readers. We do not know what you guys mean or what you guys want. Just simply tell us, hey, yes or no. My favorite thing is when I go to the store and I say, do you want something? And you say, nah, I'm good. And then I come back, I come back from the store and magically you want my plate. Excuse me? Like, no, I asked you, do you want something? And I just want a little peckish. Queen said, we don't want to feel like we're controlling the man, even if we don't really want you to. True. I don't, I would say this speaking from men on the man side of things, we don't necessarily see it controlling. We only see it as controlling if it's every single time we go out. Because my thing is, if I'm going to go out to alleviate some stress, or I'm going to go out with my homeboys and I haven't done so in a long time, and you say, I don't want you to go out, and then because I want you to spend time with me, and then I cancel my plans to spend time with you, and then magically you end up like falling asleep, or you end up, we try to watch a movie together and you fall asleep in the movie, or you're on your phone the entire time. Now to me, I'm like, I wasted my time. Now I'm starting to think, did you want me to stay in the house because you want me to go out? Or did you want me to stay, did you really just want me, or was it control? So yeah, that definitely that's how we see it. But if you generally like, hey, I want to spend time with you, and we realize most men have to be, cognizant of our stuff too. Back in the day when I was younger, I'll be doing so much stuff that I'm not even taking into account that I had not spent time with my wife. I'm like, oh, I spent time with her here and there. That should be good enough. Not realizing that quality time is needed. So that makes sense if you want me to stay in. And so most men would we prefer actually, because remember, communication style between men and women are different, and men are more direct communicators, and that's why it's important for if you're in a committed relationship to tell that man, hey, this is how I feel. Because if you do not tell us that's how you feel, we're gonna assume everything's good. And I know most of y'all, heterosexual women who dated men, you had an issue, and then the man was like, you're like, I'm good, and the man like, okay, and you walk off, and then you like, okay, so you start just arguing. We like, what the hell's going on? You said you were good. Now you all of a sudden, you're not good. Like what? Like which is it? Because we're not used. We're not used to communicating that way. So that's why it's good to be direct. Please respect the host and keep questions about the topic, not personal. So yeah, that's why it's super important for you to just be direct, even if it's uncomfortable. Find a way to communicate to your partner that you either want him or her to spend time with you, or you feel neglected. That's what keeps a relationship going on for a long time. You never ask yourself, how come you can keep a friendship for 10 years, but you can't seem to keep a man or woman longer than 2? Well, it's simply as that. We have a tendency to sometimes give our friends the benefit of the doubt, or we give we learn our friends so we know what to say and how to say it, but we don't do the same thing for our relationships. And that's why relationships suffer, because we expect our significant others to know what we feel and know what we mean. Why, as we understand that our friends, may not know, and we know Erica. Erica always been that way, but you never thought about, if Jim was that way, maybe he's that way too. But you're not giving him the benefit of doubt, so it makes sense. Oh, somebody got timed out. What happened? Oh, he asking me. Oh, shoot, wow. People be crazy. Let me turn the porch light right quick. You have to try to ask that other person to communicate No yesterday. Explain to them you want and need to. Exactly. Exactly. And the thing about it is, if your partner or friend don't want to hear your side of the story, then you might want to reevaluate that relationship because it might not be what you think it is. Because again, proper communication is bimodal. It goes both ways. Give me 1 second. If in a second, get a light out here because I'm outside and it's getting dark. So give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Oh yeah. Still, what's wrong? Why? You want to come outside? See the people? Look come outside. We'll see the people. I forgot my lights are not even in here. They're in the room. I will just orient the camera a little bit towards the lights in the back. We had a special guest known as the Great Josiah. But yeah. But let's see what here. Queen said exactly. If they refuse to communicate back with you, you might have to reevaluate your guy. Exactly. I think about it is I talked about this. I think on one of say hey to Lily. I think one of my I think it's Quick Talk season 1. I talked about walking away or letting go. A lot of people do not know how to let go because they don't know how to be alone. My whole thing is you were born alone and you will die alone. I don't care if you die in a plane wreck. You're dying still by yourself, spiritually speaking. So the fact of the matter is you have to protect your peace. And constantly going to a house where you have to argue every day or going to a workplace where you're constantly under stress, it's not good for your health, spiritually, mentally, or whatever. Right, bye, Liz. But the fact of the matter is, you definitely got to protect your peace. It's very important. And if letting someone go is is in your best interest, then do so. And it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard. I mean, y'all already know. If you heard 1,000 times of Liz and I's story where she walked away because she wanted to make sure I can have another kid, and all that good stuff, and she wanted me to be happy. That was tough because we had 11 years on our belt, but it was for the best. It was for the betterment of both of us, and it was tough, but we rebounded, we recovered, and we're good. So let me be honest. My problem is I communicate all the time. He doesn't, and when he does, all he says is I fight too much. Exactly. So and that's the problem, Lily, is that again that not to get into your business, I'll just speak generally. That's why it's important to get someone who's on your level, if that makes sense. And I'm gonna say this in two ways. So yes, men and women are different. Women are taught to communicate their feelings, and men are not. Which is why I want men to actually be more open with communicating how they feel, even if it's gonna make somebody upset. Because remember how we're socialized is like, hey, don't be combative. That's supposed to be a quote unquote female trait if you're always arguing. But then on the flip side, by us not communicating our feelings, stuff festers, and then we end up getting all upset and getting aggressive, either walking away, and some dudes even hit their partner. And so all because they couldn't communicate how they felt, which is stupid. But in this case, when one person is communicating, the other person is not, the only thing that is happening is that you're building walls. That's barriers that's being built. And now you are speaking, don't feel heard. He feels like you're badgering him, and now you're actually trending opposite. Oh yeah, he's still there. Everybody and that's the thing about it. And the reason why he thinks everybody's on your side is because that individual is not used to being challenged. When somebody think they're hot shit, and then someone say, well, actually, you're not as hot as you think you are, then they get upset. They get upset because now they feel like you're directly challenging themselves, especially men. They feel like you're challenging their pride, or their manhood, and it's like, no, it's not that, bro. True manhood is not about True manhood is not about you asserting your dominance over anybody. A man who's comfortable with himself doesn't have to assert his dominance. It is felt. He doesn't have to like berate anybody because people will give him that respect. And that's what it is. And I think my whole thing was him. He feels like he can say and do things to you because he feel like you're no offense to you. He feel like you can't stop him. Like I'm King Dingling here, and no one can stop me. And it's like, bro, you may believe that, but then when you put that so-called big dog in a room full of other big dogs, they end up like a chihuahua. It happens all the time. They talk, they berate a woman, they beat up on a woman, then they put them with someone else with other men, and then they over here like real quiet. Like, what's wrong? Cat, got your tongue? You know? Oh, Moondog, we're talking about communication, like why communication is important in a relationship and what happens when one party is communicating, the other party is not. So it's like, and if they only knew that men who are confident and has respect for themselves. Exactly. Women find that highly attractive for a man who actually know who he is and comfortable with who he is. Like eventually, if you're a man who like to like pretend to be like, you know, this strong man, eventually it's gonna show. It's gonna show that it's hard to hold a facade. It's really difficult to hold a fake facade. If that's not who you are, it's hard to maintain that, which is why people always end up deflating and people find out who they are and they get upset and it's a attack on their pride because now they can't live up to that so-called like fake persona they created. That's why I tell people it's easier to be yourself than try to be somebody else. All I can ever be is Quentin. That's it. And my older son asked me how come you know some females find me attractive or whatever the case may be, and I told him, I said, well, I'm just me. Always been the fast talking dude that I am. I don't go out to try to be nobody else. If you want a hood dude, it ain't me. If you want a thug dude, it ain't me. What you're gonna find is a decently smart person who just want to live life and enjoy doing things that he wants to do. Because I'm not trying to be anybody else. I can't, even if I wanted to. But yeah, that's why the Bible says about being equally yoked. You want a communicator. You want a man who can communicate his feelings because that man will be a protector and provider. But in that protection part, sometimes the best course of action is not to beat nobody up or shoot them. Sometimes the best course of action is to negotiate and talk to someone and try to get to a solution, because violence always begets violence. And so if you can't communicate properly, especially to a woman, remember our woman's supposed to be our helpmeet, supposed to be our partner. If you can communicate to your partner, how can you communicate to someone else? Which I tell the females that I used to like mentor and counsel, I would tell them, you guys will go to work and listen to your boss who you don't even know, but you won't even listen to your man who's supposed to have your best interest in heart. The work can tell you what to wear, but if a man say, hey, I don't like that, that make me feel uncomfortable if you wear a short skirt, and you get all mad and say you controlling. So maybe that makes sense. So is the work controlling you too? So it's like certain things just don't make no sense. It's like you gotta whether I was with Liz or when I was with Evelyn, that word holds weight to me. It matters to me. Because I want to make sure they're happy and make sure they feel comfortable. It's not about control. It's about companionship. It's about cooperation. That's how I feel about it. I suppress the angry, dangerous side of me because I don't want to feed it. It's a part of me. I just keep it. And the thing about it, and that's called Moondog. That's called self-control. That's the thing about it. It's called self-control. That's what people understand. Some people like, I'm just blunt. I say what I want to say. And it's like, that's not always the best course of action. You okay? That's not always the best course of action. Just saying what you want to say can get you hurt. Some people really don't play around about their respect. And you being blunt might get you buzzed in the head with a blunt object. So it might, as I tell people all the time, it's good to be tactful and keep yourself under control. Because you don't want to put yourself in jail. I told myself a long time ago, I'm never going to jail, period. It's not for me. To me, that's a horrible type of confinement that I'm not ready for. And it's not that I can't fight. It's just that I don't like being in no closed off space. I love freedom. I don't believe in zodiacs, but I'm an Aquarius. I like freedom. The balance is important. Give me 1 second. Put him back in the house because it's getting cold out here. I'm gonna let you back in the house. You don't cry and be mad, but you gotta get back in the house, okay? Yo, what's your mama? No, I'll be back in. But Moondog, the thing about it is everyone struggles with the balance between everyone struggles with the balance between their dark sides and their need or want to do right. We all struggle with it. You know, it's it's human nature. I want you to understand that it's human nature. So it's so and it's for the most part, from what I know about you, you've been doing a pretty good job because you haven't hurt anybody, you know, or yourself for that matter. So it's a constant struggle. It's something that's going to always be inside of all of us. Every time someone, you know, offends me, I have that angel and devil on both sides of my shoulder. I have that. Hey, you don't let him. You know, I hear the devil be like, you know, you don't let him say that to you. Man, you can knock him smooth out. Then the angel be like, you've worked really hard. You came from, you know, impoverished means to now live very comfortably. You gonna mess all that up just because somebody said this? It's just words, you know. They haven't put their hands on you, you know. So you kind of it's that constant battle. So the thing about it is the fact that you've been doing this long, you're actually pretty good, and I'm proud of you, man. Keep it up. Um, that's me. I have a Mexican on one side and the Puerto Rican. And those types are two different type of creatures. As somebody who had dated both those, yeah, those are two different type of people, and both of them are crazy, but in different ways. So the fact that that person that you're talking about still standing, they should be thinking they're lucky stars. So and that's why, and you know, yes, toxic. You know, a little bit of toxicity ain't never hurt nobody. Ain't never hurt nobody. A lot of the food we eat is toxic. We still alive, right? Um, but yeah, like it's me. He's Mexican. Oh yeah, yeah. That makes sense. That make a lot of sense. And we'll talk about cultural culture. I mean, I have a lot of Mexican friends. Let me tell you right now, it's a lot when it comes down to Latin men and their machismo type upbringing. It is very much. I see what you're talking about now. It is a real thing that happens a lot. They're not used to being questioned. They're very traditional, if you will. Some would say borderline misogynistic. A lot of cultures like that too. A lot of cultures are that way. I mean, a lot of African cultures are that way too. And I believe in a balance. As a man, I do take a lot of responsibilities because where the family goes, is usually based on where I go. Doesn't mean I don't confer with my significant other as to what she thinks, but ultimately I'm gonna make the decision because if the family fails, people gonna look at me and ask me why didn't I do X, Y, and Z in order to stop it from happening. So if I'm gonna take the punishment, I'm also gonna take the wheel. You feel me? I'm very much old school in that regard. However, I don't think that I'm just because I'm a man, I should be this me king. I'm not that type of person. Nah. I definitely want to talk about it, but I'm going to explain thoroughly why we're going this direction. Let me see. Some women don't admit it, but I do, and it hurts. Narcissism is a thing. It's overly used nowadays. People say people use that word all the time. Oh, he's a narcissist, and it's like no. And sometimes people will take your need for self love and your requirement for respect as narcissism. And that's not what narcissism is. I'm not gonna go into textbook narcissism, but a general definition of narcissism is a person who is they think very highly of themselves and they're very allergic to everyone else's opinion of them. And they don't like to take any type of negative, and so you only can praise them and nothing else. Those type of people gotta go. There is no reasoning with a narcissistic person. You cannot make them see reason. There's no point even trying because they already in their mind they are the best thing walking, and everybody else are simply peasants. It's a waste of your time. Don't even do it. Matter of fact, exit stage left. Jump out of the airplane, get a parachute, get away from that person because it's not gonna work out well for you. Moondog said my ex-wife half Cuban, half Guatemalan. She had some sweet and fire. Yeah, Latin women be on some other world stuff. And don't get me started. And I tell people all the time when you talk about Latin women and black women, same type of spice. People are like, that one is more praised and the other one is more kind of like venerated, but or like or no, it's detrimental to them. But at the end of the day, they both toxic. And guess what? Love them both. That's something to be said about like a woman who has a little bit of edge. I just don't. I don't do. Me personally, I don't do. I don't like just yes women. I know it seems crazy, but nah, just give me a little bit. Fight back a little bit. You know, if I say I'm doing this, tell me no, you ain't doing nothing. Cause I'd be like, you're right, I ain't doing nothing. I'm gonna stay right here. But that's just nothing here nor there. But that's just how it is. It's crazy. I don't know how. That's a lot, Liz. Why are you trying to lie on these people? Why are you trying to lie on these people? The fact of the matter is, everybody got a little spice in them. I don't care who you are. All of us got a little spice in them because all spice is your ability or inability to accept something. You know, that's what it is. So, anyways, I say all of this to say I want you guys to get better at communicating. I want y'all to be masterful communicators. It is very, very important. And if anybody's going live tonight, let me know. I'm gonna try to pop in y'all lives. I don't want to stay on too long because I just now got my voice back fully, and I can finally breathe out of one nostril, so that's good. But yeah, I definitely want to see who goes live. And yeah, I'm gonna pop by. But that's all I want to say. Just take what I'm saying and pass it forward. You know. Oh, thank you, Lily. But yeah, I want you guys to take what I said and pass it forward, sit on it, ruminate on it, and make sure you bring your friend groups in. If your significant other is open to it, talk to them about, hey, we need to communicate better. Let's just pause and reflect before we say anything and stop stonewalling me. Because if you do those things, you can last for a long time. You can have, to me, there's two types of relationships. There's a relationship you want to be in and a relationship you wish you weren't in. Those are two types. And so how big, which one, you want to be in is up to you. So, I love y'all and I'm about to, dip out. So, LNL squad signing out. Liz, I'll pop over to your live and see how you're doing. And yeah, y'all take care. Love y'all. Good night.